Yeah. Sweet dreams.
Hello, E-Monkeyians! Welcome back, and today we are going over Dante's jacket! Yeah! Finally! Now, I did try to record everything in this video. It was 72 different video files and 10 hours worth of footage, but I don't think I got quite everything, so I'm going to try to also voice explain it as best as possible. If you have any questions whatsoever, please leave a comment or contact me on my Facebook page, and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible and try to answer any questions you may have, because this is a very detailed jacket, and it, like I said, this costume in general took me 5.5 months. The jacket was the majority part of it. It very detailed, very annoying to an extent, but I am so proud of this jacket, and I know you will too once you go to making it. Just be very, very cautious. This fabric is very evil when it comes to sewing machines. It doesn't like the sewing machines that much, apparently. So, just a word of caution. Alright, let's hop into this tutorial. Also, another little quick ad that I might add here is that this is completely machine washable. Just turn it inside out, use clear detergent, cold water, and make sure you take the belt buckle pieces off. I designed this perfectly to where you take the gun holster and the belt buckle pieces. That way everything can be washed. So, yay! Just don't put it in the dryer. This fabric does not like the dryer. Alright? Now, we can officially get to this tutorial. Enjoy, guys. I hope it's good. Alright, get you either a jacket. It doesn't have to be a trench coat. I just happened to find this one for $3. So, but make it really, really long. I mean, you want to make it go all the way down to your feet. So, whenever you're tracing this out, you're going to trace the back piece as a full panel. It's just easier to do the back piece this way, and make it a lot longer than what you normally would, because if anything, we can cut off whatever is too long later. But I went about 5 or 6 extra inches down than this one, because this one probably went to about my shin, probably. So I wanted it basically down to my feet, because that's where his is at. So once you cut that out, we can work on the front panel. Yay! Okay, scratch that. We're going to do the sleeves first. Alright, you're going to copy this sleeve, and that's basically it. Just fold the fabric over, copy the sleeve twice. Voila! Now we're going to do the front panel. Haha! And you just fold your back panel in half, and cut it right along. And make sure you add 0.5 extra seam allowance when cutting anything, guys. It is super extra important to have seam allowance, because you want that. Because if you want this jacket to be comfortable for you, you want that seam allowance. And also a caution when it comes to this fabric that I've noticed is that it is very hot. It does not breathe that well. So take caution when wearing this, and make sure you drink plenty of water. And when you go to make the next panel, just flip that one right over and cut it out. That way you have 2 front panels, because you want to have a zipper in place in the front. You're actually going to end up with 2 zippers, but we'll work with 1 for now. Alright, now that we got that, I don't know why these 2 are mixed up like this, but whatever. Now do the sleeve. I guess I wanted to make sure that I had enough for the panel before I went on with the sleeve. So obviously you have 2 arms, make 2 sleeves. Alright, now we're cutting down the back of the jacket straight in the middle. The reason why we're doing this is because he has a slit in the back of his jacket. It goes from his feet all the way up to his lower back. So that's why we are cutting it in half. Now you're going to copy this collar piece. Get you a collar piece from a shirt or somewhere, or make you a long enough measurement piece and give it about 3 inches height. And seam allowance, of course, because this collar will be sewn on later. Now we're going to make some back panels and side panels. This is the fun, tedious process. because you have to measure from your sides and also your back, because he has one long panel going across the back that's split in half, and then he has some on each side. So do your measurements and copy it out. That's exactly what I did here. Nothing really too fancy, and make sure it curves, because that will help your figure. And like I said, you need about 4 of these particular panels. He has lots of panels on this thing. Alrighty, now on to the liner. I used some like silk velvety type fabric because Dante's a tad bit fancy and I wanted it to have that darker contrast inside, make it like a shadow effect. So all 4 of those panels that you have now, you are going to copy to this liner. And it is a lot. I suggest go ahead and pre-pinning it. It makes it so much simpler if you pre-pin it, because then you could just take it straight to the sewing machine. So copy all 4 of those panels. I didn't do it for the sleeves because it's already going to be hot enough. And that's what it looks like. Cut out. Then here it is sewn up. You just sew right along the edges. Don't worry about cleaning it up as of yet, because we're going to do that later. So don't freak out yet if you're like, oh, but it looks very weird right now. It's okay, because we're going to be splicing fabric together and hemming later. This is just for now. Alright, now we're going to pin the back together again. You're just going to go from the top of your shoulder, the neck area, all the way down to your lower back. That's all you're pinning, and that's all you're going to sew together, because it's Dante that we're talking about. So we got to have that little split for extra flair. So just do that right here, and make sure you sew it. Use zigzag stitches, guys. Zigzag stitch everything. Now I'm putting on the panel, the back panel to be precise. So you're gonna have it go from shoulder all the way to shoulder. This is why it's 2 separate pieces. That way I can make sure that it fits properly. And don't worry about the seam allowance as far as this part goes, because you're going to do a zigzag stitch on top of it to where it cleans the edges and you don't have to worry about it. Plus, this fabric doesn't fray. Even better! Yay! Now, we are going to pin all around the shoulder area, because you're going to make that little armhole. That little curve is your armhole. So you're pinning there, and then you're pinning the back to the front. That is what you're doing right now, because a jacket isn't really a jacket if the pieces aren't sewn together. See, I told you we were going to clean it up later. I didn't lie. So do that right here and put your seams together, and you're going to go ahead and hem and do that right there. Yeah. Make sure you hem that little slit too. That slit is important, very important. And the edges, all edges. Alright, now we are on to the sleeves. We are going to pin the sides. I would suggest putting these sleeves on you first, and then, you know, pin it while it's on you. Trust me, I made that mistake and had to go back. So make sure you pin it while it's on you. Then a cool little trick, have your jacket inside out, put the sleeve right side in. And that way the right sides are touching each other. Pin it, sew it, voila! Quick, easy way to do the sleeves. So much easier than I've made it in the past. Oh man, the lessons we learn. Alright, now that we do that, we are going to create a liner for the collar. This ended up being pointless later, but you will see, because I also had to learn how to make this jacket. So it was not easy. It was my first official jacket, technically before the Suicide Squad. Technically. Because I made that one in between this one. This one was made up twice. Then you're going to pin this collar onto the outside of the jacket, because his collar's on the outside, not the inside. So make sure you pin it on the outside and then sew it on the inside along. Trust me. I had to unpin it 3 times because I noticed that I was wrong. Alright, now we're going to make some belt loops, shoulder loops. Yeah, just a bunch of loops. And also the belt. I'm cutting a long strip for the belt. That one depends on your size, but it was about 3 inches wide, and I'm folding it in half and sewing it. That's how that one's working. And these are going to be your shoulder pieces right here. The 2 long strips that I cut out that you see, those are your shoulder strips. They're going on your shoulder to help hold your holster. Now you're going to make shorter strips for the belt loops. So see, Right there. Showing you an example, because my dad wasn't sure what I was doing. There you go. Alright, now that you got all that, you are going to put the zipper on. Yay! What joy! Woohoo! Just pin it along, and before this I did sew on the belt loops. He's got one on each side and one in the middle, and then one on each shoulder. Not that complicated. And then make sure you put buttons on the ends of every single one of them. You want the shoulder straps to be removable too, FYI. Alright, now we're going to work with some plastomorph, because we're going to make our belt clips. Yeah! You are going to heat up some plastomorph, and then just stir it in a little pot, put it all together, and roll it up, and create your shape. That's literally it. This is it. And whenever you want to fuse it together, just reheat it. It's not hard at all, guys. And the belt clip is a D and an MC, all in one. You just have to look at your reference pictures, because I didn't record a very good job of how to create this belt buckle thing. So, excuse me for that. That's my little error, but you roughly see what I'm doing. So, I do have a few clips later on that actually shows what I made. So, if you're not 100% sure, go back to the intro or wait further down in the video. And look at your reference pictures when working with this stuff. And it's very, very hot. You are working with boiling water. Please be very, very careful. Adult supervision if you're not an adult. It hurts. I'm just used to this stuff. Alright. This is what we have so far. See what I mean about the sleeves? Fix those before you attach them. And there's the shoulder loops I was talking about with the golden parts. I haven't put the buttons on the belt loops yet, but you're going to need them. And there's the clips with the belt. Now I'm showing you we're going to cut off our sleeve. Just chop it off. Alright. Now, here comes the really, really tedious stuff. This is around the second round of me working on this jacket. So this is the second remake where I'm adding the touches and finishing it. Alright, we're going to add the extra zipper panel that I warned you about in the beginning. Get you a long strip of fabric, measure it, and cut it. Just any scraps you got. I didn't have a long enough zipper for this, so I combined 3 zippers into one, which you can't even tell it was 3 zippers. So, a little trick there. If you don't have enough zippers, here you go. Just combine a few. If you don't have a long enough one, because it's really, really long. It's ridiculous how long it actually is. So you're going to cut 2 of these panels, because you got to make 2 of these. They got to go on each side. Alright? So keep a caution. Technically, you're going to make 4, because it's a back and forth panel. So make 4 of these. Scratch that. Make 4. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. But see, you're going to tuck it in on the inside like I'm showing you there. But you want to make another piece of fabric extra, that way it goes on the outside so it looks nice and clean and pretty. Alright, here I am pinning the 2 fabrics together. And then you're going to sew straight line, straight down. And then you're going to sew 1 end shut. But do not sew one long side and do not sew the other top side. There's a reason for it. I know I sound crazy and I probably don't make any sense whatsoever, but you're gonna thank me for it later, so trust me on that. And see, here's where I'm showing you where I just pin one side and just zigzag stitch everything. And here we go. We're adding the zipper on the other long side. See, I have reasons for my crazy ways. So pin the zipper inside, because we're gonna flip this inside out. Then once you zigzag stitch it, just be careful because you don't want to hit that zipper. Now you're going to turn that fabric inside out from the other side. Now this is what I did. You don't have to, but I noticed it helped the zipper. I top stitched along where the zipper is, that way it's more pronounced and so the fabric clings onto it better and it gave it a nice professional finish. So I actually suggest that, and while you're top stitching, go ahead and close that other end up. So highly recommend. It's probably your best bet. And don't forget, you have to do this twice. I'm going to be saying this a lot because you have 2 panels, because he's just weird and has to have 2. And here they are, all sewn on. This is what I was talking about with 2 zippers. You got to make sure one's longer than the other. And that panel piece has to be shorter than the original zipper that's on the jacket. I don't know why it's designed that way. That's just the way it is. And here I'm showing you what it looks like on the inside. And I'll be folding it like that and sticking buttons right there. You might as well invest in a lot of gold buttons or start making you some, because I use 14 to 17 buttons on this jacket. All gold. Everything has to be gold, including the zippers. Everything. And right here, I am pinning down the zipper only because I'm checking where it'll fold outward. That way I can show y'all what I'm going to be adding later. I decided not to do it yet because there's a reason why. I have my reasons, but that's what it looks like. Alright, you're going to use your super stitch. I guess that's what it's called, I'm not really sure, but it's a really, really zigzaggedy stitch. And those set tensions, because you're going to clean these edges with this. It just gives it more of a professional look. I wish I did it to the other panels earlier, but I didn't. But that's your shoulder pad, and the other piece that you saw, that's your hips. I didn't get to add the hips before the convention. So there's your shoulders, pin on your shoulders, and he also has a panel on his actual arm. I warned you, it's a lot of panels. It's not really on the shoulders, like at the top of the arm. I guess it's like top of arm / shoulder. Something like that, but he's got one on each side. So, yeah. Here I am showing you how to put on the hip pieces. It's a little hard to do by yourself, so if you have a handy dandy husband, wife, person, significant other, or somebody that you trust to not poke you to death, you might want to get one of those. So, yeah. Because you're going to have to pin this all the way around on each side, because you want this to curve to your body form. It makes it more flattering, and it flattens the jacket and doesn't make it look so red and plain. And the black lines are there. I sewed on black lines, but I found a better method later, so I decided not to show y'all that because that just takes way too long, and there was a way easier method that I found later on. Of course, it always has to be later on than now. And this jacket does apply to both girls and boys, because this is the actual legit jacket from the game, as close as I could humanly possible get to it. So, but here you go. We're pinning the little hip pieces on. Here's the shoulder one. Not the shoulder. Oh my goodness. The arm one I was talking about. That little tiny panel. Yeah, you have to cut. It's basically rectangles. So you're cutting really, really small rectangles, and it's going on your elbow. It's like an elbow patch. He's got it all over the place. Well, you only got 2 elbows, so I guess he's got it on both of his elbows. But I had my husband pin it on. As you can see, he's trying not to poke me. So, like I say, get somebody that you trust, and then just sew it with that stitch I showed you earlier. A tight zigzag stitch, and you're good to go. On the sleeves, I believe I had to actually hand sew those pieces, because I already sewed on the sleeves like a dingus. So you might have to actually hand sew those pieces, but it's not that bad. Sometimes it seems better than the machine, because the machine was like, no, I'm not going to do this today. Alright, there it is off of me. That's what it looks like. See? Shoulder! Well, I keep calling it shoulder, but it's an arm! Arms! Hey! Away from the shoulders. Alright, once that's sewn on, you're going to pinch the fabric up above right where you sewed it earlier, and you're going to pinch it on the bottom. The reason why is because he has these lines that go across all the way around on each sleeve. See? And the pinching effect adds that little effect. And you just whipper stitch all the way around. I call it a whipper stitch. I don't know what it's actually called, but it's where you knot it every time. See? And you do it on the other sleeve too. Wow, we're getting fancy-fied here. Alright, next, you are going to rip this pretty little seam that you have open. You're not literally going to rip it, you're going to cut it open with the seam ripper. Because you're going to add this zipper in there. Yes, more zippers. Woohoo, more gold zippers. This is the type I got, a 7-inch or 18 centimeters, whichever. And you're going, after you get that little slit open, you're going to go about a little bit above your wrist, just as long as the zipper, because it's literally the perfect height and everything. And you're going to pin it to the fabric. And you want to make it to where the zipper goes down whenever you're zipping it up, because his zipper is only halfway zipped up. Woohoo! And pin it on each side. See where I have the zipper placed? Make sure you get that correct, because that's one little thing you're going to wish that you got correct. Trust me. And I'm making a little panel for it. That way whenever we have it opened, we have it. That way it looks nice and clean and professional. Although I didn't do this the professional way whatsoever. See, there it is pinned. It's just a simple rectangle piece. And I just sewed it right in. I had to hand sew it, so. And that's what it looks like. That's where you're supposed to place the zipper. Look at that. All nice and pretty. Can't even tell that I screwed up the first few times. Now we're going to fix that neck piece. Remember that liner I told you about? Yeah, you might as well forget about it because we're going to use some interfacing, like the hardest, stiffest interfacing we could find. And we're going to make this neck piece really, really stiff so it can stand straight up because his does. His stays straight up. And I was very upset that it didn't happen during one of my conventions, so I had to go back and fix it. So you're just going to measure your neck piece again. Make sure you measure it twice. You'll see why later. I'm just going to go ahead and pre-tell you and have a little nook because since it sits outward, you have a little tiny nook there. So once you cut it, you pin it to the neck piece. I know. Very weird, huh? First time using interfacing. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I was hoping for the best, though. But it worked out really well. And it's not that expensive for how much I used, either. It's pretty good. I don't remember the type that it's called, but it's sew in. There is a difference. You do not want to use an iron with this thing. You want to sew this in. See? Hand sew. All the way around. Very tedious hand sewing. Voila! There it is, hand sewed. I know, pretty simple, huh? But it looks a lot better. Well, at least stiffness-wise. And here it is with the first layer. Just giving you a little sneaky peeky. But, obviously, it wasn't stiff enough for me. It needed to be stronger and stand up even straighter. So, therefore, we make another neck piece. You just literally copy the neck piece, like I did here, and make another piece. Somehow I did not get this on camera, but you pin these two pieces together, and yeah. So you're just making another neck piece, and another interfacing piece. Double the strength, and it stands up on its own. So, it's very hard to bend this jacket with, like, the neck piece whenever I go to fold it up to put it away. It's very hard to do so, because it's so stiff, and I just hand-stitched it all the way around and close it. Use red thread. Alright, now here comes the part where I told you about the black lines. Originally, like I said, I hand-sewed it, but we're going to paint it instead because I wanted it to stand out more. It was getting lost. So, we're going to paint over it. Hey! And I used a tiny brush right here because the little shoulder/arm pieces were very, very tiny when it came to the lines. And then I'm like, yeah, that's taking way too long. So I just, since it had a nice fine tip, the paint that I used, I just went straight along and painted right in it. And got in all the crevices. Made sure to cut all the little thread pieces that got stuck in the fray. So that's literally all I did to fix this piece. I did it to every single panel. This is your back. I did it to the shoulders that you saw earlier. Here it is on the back. And then I did it to his shoulder holder pieces for his gun holster because he has it there. It's just a little loop all the way around. I studied his pictures so hard to make sure I get these right. So it's all in the correct placements. Just use your little paintbrush to make it a finer detailed line. You're going to do it for both shoulders. Yeah, I know, tedious, right? Oh, man. So much pain went into this jacket, but I love it so much. So much. I'm so proud of it. Alrighty. Now, I'm showing you my side piece. Because you're going to do the side pieces now. Hey, who would have figured that we're going to do the side pieces now? So, make sure you do the side pieces. This is why I didn't put the buttons on yet. And if you do make a mistake, use a little paper towel and just wet it a tiny bit and clean it up. As you can see, that's what I did here. And you'll see the end result turn out just fine. Because as long as you catch it while it's wet, you're good. See? Ain't it pretty? Alright, now we're going to do the neck. It has 3 lines. One close to the top. That's in the middle. It's just closer to the top. And then make a box. And then on the belt loop, it's 2 lines. Just go across. And look, there they are. Make sure you take those off when you do that. And here we go with adding the buttons that I was talking about earlier. Because now you're going to fold the flaps over and do the button thing. Because he has to have more gold buttons. We got 1 on each on your side panels that you added earlier. So that's what that looks like. And this also keeps it down so you don't have to force it down. Hey! And now in the middle line that you see right there, the middle one, you're going to put 2 buttons on each side. This is a little tricky, but it's possible because he has a total of 6 buttons on his neck collar. It's technically snaps, but I only had regular buttons. So, see? 1 on each side. Well, he's got, on his left side, he's got 2 across. So you need 4 total. 2 on the inside, 2 on the outside, right next to each other. And then on your right side, you need 1 button. So, well, 2. 1 on the inside, 1 on the outside. So, see? That's exactly what you do. And that is mostly it. I'm sorry if this tutorial went really fast. I tried. I will show you where to put the holes. It's right for your gun holster, but it should be in the gun holster video. If not, I will fix that and explain it. Alright, I will see y'all next time. Be good to each other, and happy cosplaying!
Jackpot.
Thank you to all of my Patreon supporters for making all of these videos possible. To become a Patreon supporter, go to patreon.com/emonk060292 or look in the description or in the eye above. Thank you guys!